Coming to another country, everything is different. It is challenging and overwhelming at the same time. Working in immigration for the past 12 years, I have dealt with a lot of different nationalities, and I can tell you that the pressures of immigrating are the same across the board. Going to another country and having to build yourself all over again is like it's almost like you're reborn. You're reborn into a new person, and you are now learning how to walk, learning how to talk, learning how to listen, maybe even going back to school. The number one cultural challenge everyone faces is the language barrier. And it's very frustrating. You are trying to build a new life, yet you cannot communicate 100% with the people around you. Getting ready, going to school, or, taking a course, or maybe doing like an intensive course to at least be able to understand or even read. Just don't be shy. Don't be shy. I have met people in my life, they don't speak English, and I ask, well, why don't you even try, And they always say, oh, no, I have a terrible accent, I don't, I'm going to take pride of that. You first, like I said, left everything behind. You came to build a new life, and it's okay to have an accent. As long as you can communicate, as long as you can get by, it's completely fine, and then it's going to improve. It's not always going to stay to, like a hard, accent what anyone cannot comprehend. So I'll just say, be bold, be brave, just do it. It's completely fine. You're not always going to be 100%, but you'll get by and it'll get better. When it comes to employment and what to do next, you now have a visa, you are finally in the USA. You need to start living your American dream. You now have to go back and figure out where you fit in the job market. And if you're a professional, if you were a doctor, if you were a nurse, if you were a teacher, ideally you want to come here and do the same thing. You give your resume, you explain your job experience, and suddenly it's, but do you have the credential to teach in the US? Do you have a degree that proves that you can actually be a doctor here and practice that in the US? And then suddenly it's a whole turmoil of, feelings and ideas, and now what do I do? Then you go back to school, and then you find out, well, you have to start all over again. You have to basically relearn everything that you already learned and worked so hard for. So that's something I really admire from immigrants, that I have seen, people that have corporate jobs in their countries and come to the U.S. and work at a warehouse because that's all they can do. You have a green card, you don't know the language, and you have to start at the bottom. I personally know a lawyer that came from South America, and his first job was cleaning offices, and then he worked at a McDonald's. That was a lawyer, that was a person that worked for the government in South America, and he humbly came here and he said, I understand what it means to immigrate. I know that I cannot be a lawyer here, so I need to start wherever they give me an opportunity. So you take that opportunity that's given to you, and you're grateful for that, because at least now you are in America. And you help to build on that, but it's hard. It's just really hard. Again, if you come really young, you learn the language, you start a career, you basically go through the process of, building a life here. But when you come, you're a little bit older, then maybe the energy is not there. Maybe the responsibilities that you have do not allow you to stop your life and go back to school. So just be open-minded and never give up. Just, have the courage to take on those challenges that sometimes come along the way, and, you can reach the stars. If you're coming from overseas and you are doing the consular route and just entering through a port of entry in the U.S., then you need to make sure that first thing you do is pay for that USCIS immigrant fee. There is a link in the USCIS website where it gives you information about how you can pay for that fee so that your green card can get mailed to your home. You also have to wait for your Social Security to come in the mail so that you can start applying for jobs. Most companies, once you have your Social Security, can hire you because you do have a visa that shows that you have actually entered as a permanent resident, but some employers are a little strict. And when that happens, the employer says, well, let's wait until you get your green card, and then you can come and work for me. So that takes about 120 days. That's 4 months that you're just sitting at home doing nothing, right? So you have to prepare for that in advance, knowing that you may not be able to secure the job as soon as you come to the US. And then obviously getting an identification card, because a lot of people think, okay, well, with my green card, I can identify myself. It's actually not recommended that you carry your green card with you at all times, only because if it gets lost, it's a long process to replace that card. And then it has a lot of information that obviously people can use to use your name, come to America. So you have to protect those documents. And so therefore you should go and get just, state valid ID. And then after that, I think the first recommendation I give is, get a bank account. And then, you start looking at where you're gonna live. Just make sure that you actually get that information prior to, do a lot of research, and be ready to learn. A lot of people, once they immigrate to America, they get, accustomed to the life here, and then they forget that, for example, they are only a permanent resident. And because you're only a permanent resident, then you need to make sure that you renew your green card, right? It has an issuance date and then it has an expiration date. I have encountered people that have come to our office and they have an expired green card that expired 10 years ago. And they didn't know that they had to actually renew it until they went to the Social Security office to try to retire. And then they say, oh, you don't have valid immigration status. And then people are shocked. Like, what do you mean I don't have valid immigration status? Well, your green card is expired, so you're not, right now, you don't have valid status. Those are, I think, the most common mistakes. People forgetting to renew their documents or not knowing that something is expired. Number one, be informed, stay informed, do some research, read about, what you're looking into filing, if it's a work permit, if it's adjustment of a status, if it's a waiver, if it's any type of application. The information is always available on the government websites. All agencies have a website where they clearly explain the process and they tell you, the basic information. Read up on it before you consult with anyone, so at least you have a little bit of knowledge before you meet with an attorney. The other thing is, if it sounds too good to be true, then it's most likely a fraud. People that call themselves like legal advisors, they offer a work permit and a social security. All you have to do is sign this paper and give me this little bit of information. Give me a birth certificate, sign this paper, and I'll get you a work permit and a social security. This was very common back in the 2000s. And what they did is they went and applied for asylum. And through the asylum process, try to get, a work permit and a social in the meantime that the asylum is in process. But then at the end, come to find out you do not qualify for asylum. The qualifications are not there. So therefore, now you have a deportation order. So if it sounds too easy, it's too good to be true, then it's almost like, it's fraud. The third thing is being able to communicate with who you're working with. So whether you bring an interpreter with you, whether you have your children do the research or your family help you out, but always be able to 100% communicate with who you're working with so you can have a clear understanding of what you're signing and what you're doing. You never lose who you are as long as you know where you are. So you come to the U.S., but what is within you, you don't lose that, right? So don't lose the good values that you've learned. Stick to being true to yourself. And like I say, take pride on who you are. Take pride on what you bring, like give yourself a pat on the back. I'm doing this, I'm here. And always stay connected to your family and friends. I think that's the best way to not lose your identity and to not lose who you are. Take the time to go back and, connect with your family and friends and just, love who you are. Cultural differences. More than anything, I think how in America you're building your own empire and you have to prove yourself. And you're doing it on your own. For example, I've seen even, it's silly to say, but the trash cans, when on trash day, you take out your trash can. If your trash can is on the floor, no one is going to touch it because they are afraid whether you're going to get upset or not. So I think that's a cultural thing. Because back where I'm from, if you see the trash can is on the floor, you just pick it up. You're doing a favor. You're not hurting anyone. But I think here we have to be very careful how people perceive what we say, how that's going to affect the other person, as opposed to just being ourselves and trying to help out. So you go through that and encounter like different personalities, right? Someone may be really happy and say, oh, that was really nice of you. Thank you for doing that. And someone else may say, you should have just left it there. I wanted it on the floor. And you have to be okay with that, you know, and it's like, oh, I'm sorry about that. I won't do it again. And then they have rules for everything, right? You cannot stand here from 12 to 2, so no one can stand there. And then, you know, sometimes when you're learning, you make these common mistakes. You go somewhere and you do something and people are looking at you weird and you're wondering, why is everybody looking at me? I'm not doing anything wrong. And it's like, did you not read the sign? And you're like, oh, sorry, I'm not used to reading for everything that I do. A lot of it is the language, right? And the words and how you use words and how you say it. You may be asking a question and they think that you're actually telling them something. Only because your accent could play part on that, or you're not formatting the sentence correctly. So then they think you're telling them to do something and you're actually asking them something. You go to a restaurant, some people are asking a question and then they get served a plate. And then they look at each other like, what just happened here? And it's like, oh, I thought you were asking for that. No, I was asking you if, right? So I think a lot of immigrants, we have gone through that at some point in our lives. And then you just kind of like have to laugh it off, right? It's like, oh, okay, well, then I guess I have to eat this now. Something I wish my clients knew. They need to be ready to fight. No. No, I'm just kidding. When you come from another country, when you are overseas, you hear the life in America is so wonderful. And you get to be fancy here. You get to express yourself. You can be who you want to be. It's not who your parents want you to be. It's not who your grandparents want you to be. It's not who society wants you to be. You come to America to be free. And when you immigrate to the U.S., you are set by all these rules because you are an immigrant. You have to renew your green card. You have to start your social security. You have to almost earn everything, right? It's pictured as the American dream. You know, it's the best, and you come in here to freedom and to happiness. But in order to get to that happiness, there are a lot of steps. In order for you to achieve the American dream, it's a lot of hard work. Sometimes it means having more than one job, working 12 hours a day, and then you have to pay taxes. I wish every immigrant knew that when they come to the U.S., they have to pay taxes. It's not something that you do, and it's not so formal in other countries, and you have to report every source of income. So, you know, having an understanding of how money works and operates in America, I think would be really helpful for a lot of people. I wish they knew money does not grow on trees in America. Everybody thinks in America money is so accessible and it's so easy to get. Oh no, you're going to go to the USA, oh, you're going to be rich. Money does not grow on trees in America, and that's the reality. I hope that you guys enjoy these videos. If you guys have any questions or need any information about how these legal processes go, please contact us. Attorney Joseph is available for consultations. So if you guys want to check us out, please check out our YouTube, our Instagram, and our website. Thank you.